In this video, watch me do keyword research for a real local business. What's going on? I'm Michael Quinn from My Site Ranked, bringing you the most practical SEO videos for the average Joe and Jane. If you want to get my exclusive SEO resources, head on over to mysiteranked.com and check out this video's description for links to some of my best stuff. Now let's get into it. Over the next several minutes, I'll give you an over-the-shoulder demo of keyword research for a local landscaping company, so you can see my exact process and learn how to do it yourself for local SEO. And if you stay to the very end, I'll tell you how to get the exact template I use for doing keyword research. So this is going to be for Dakota Property Services. They're a company in Fargo, North Dakota that primarily does landscaping, but they also provide some additional services like snow removal and Christmas light installation in the winter. They do lawn services, they do tree trimming and paver patios, and they do fences and decks, a whole slew of things. So I'm going to be updating this website, but I need to start with my keyword research. So the first thing I'm going to do is just look at what pages on the site I need to find keywords for. So I like to start out with a site map to kind of give me an idea of what pages we're going to create. That way I can, go about selecting keywords for kind of each of these service lines and each of these pages. So this is my site map. We've got your standard pages like a home, about, contact. I'm not going to focus so much on those because those should be fairly self-explanatory. But what I do want to start out with is really the services. That's usually where I start. So we're going to start with the landscaping services, and underneath landscaping, there's lawn care, spring cleanup, patios, tree trimming, like I mentioned, and then we've also got those winter services. So what I like to do is start out with a spreadsheet, and you can either create your own spreadsheet or you can get access to the one I'm showing you here by going to My Site Ranked, and I've got my DIY SEO kit, which includes this template for you to get. The first thing I'm going to do is basically create tabs for each of the services. Now, if you deal in products, you would most likely want to create different tabs for your products. And, if you've got kind of just a general product line or a general service line, you might only need one tab, and you can maybe select all your keywords using that one tab. But if you've got a lot of different variations of services, I like to create new tabs. So all you do then in this Google Sheet is simply duplicate each tab. So let's start out with landscaping. And so in this demo, I'm going to be using Google Ads Keyword Planner. And the first thing I'm going to do is simply start by typing in some terms related to landscaping. So I'd put, landscaping services, landscaping companies. What else? Landscaping Fargo. We'll do landscaping. We'll do landscaping Fargo ND. So that's a good place to start. I might refine this. Excuse me. I might refine this as we go. But right now we're just kind of looking for those broad landscaping terms. So the next thing I'm going to do is by default, Google Ads is going to use the United States. I like to narrow this down. You certainly can use the United States as a whole. And that's sometimes a great way to go about your keyword research if you maybe have a really specific service or product you offer, where maybe you kind of need that entire national data. Or if you're like in a really small city and Google isn't returning any results, you might just kind of have to go off of a larger, geographic area to get an idea of what people search at a national level and sort of apply that locally. So what I'll start by doing is typing in Fargo. Now I could do just Fargo, the city specifically. I think I could even do county. So I could do Cass County, North Dakota, which is another way to do it. How I actually like to do it is I like to, if I see one of these DMA regions, I kind of like to go off that. It's definitely going to be broader than the geographic area that we're actually doing. You can see like Fargo's down here, and we're probably only going to cover a 20-mile radius for this particular client. But when I use this sort of DMA region, I'm just going to get a lot more data, and it's a little more helpful. So it's not going to maybe be quite as accurate, but because Fargo is a fairly rural area, I'll get a little bit better keyword data, meaning I'll actually have like a better average number of searches and things like that. So it's not exact, but it gives me kind of a better range rather than if I went too specific, these average monthly searches would probably be down in like, they'd all be tens, or it might not even yield any data. So, well, I mean, heck, we can just check it out now. Let's just try Cass County and see what it yields. All right. So we're getting a lot of tens, So I'm just going to expand that out a little bit. And you can also throw in more regions here. So you could put in multiple cities, you could put in multiple counties. There's really no right or wrong way to do it. This is just the way I do it. All right. So then what I like to do is you can do a lot of your keyword research, just right here in Google Ads. You can get a pretty good idea. You can, copy and paste these. But what I like to do is come up here, and I actually like to download this data into a Google Sheet. And so basically what I do is just create different sheets for each one of the kind of services or topics that I'm searching, and then go throw this into a folder. So that report's going to take a moment, and then it's going to show up down here, and we can simply open this sheet. So I find that working in Google Sheets is a little easier because basically what I'm going to do is sort this data in here and then add it into my keyword research template. So what I do is I go ahead and I'm going to remove a lot of this data. So if you were doing keyword research for Google Ads, you would need some of this, bidding costs and things like that. But what I'm going to do is just simply start with the top of page bid. I don't really need any of this cost per click data. So I'm going to come all the way over here, and I'm just going to delete these. And then I'm going to get rid of the currency. And you can do this one of two ways. You can use the competition here, this column, as sort of your indicator of whether these are, high competitive keywords or low competitive keywords or medium. Or you can use this index value. But keep in mind, this is data from Google Ads, so it's going to be based more on the people that are running ads, and it's really not an SEO indicator. But I still think it's a decent enough indicator. So I like to go off this index value. So what I do is I'm actually going to remove this competition. Actually, you know what we'll do? Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to keep that, but I'm going to move all this. There we go. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this column, I'm going to paste it over here. And I just pasted the values only. So basically what I want is I want the average monthly searches as the first column, and then competition, the indexed value, as the second column, because that's how my keyword research template is essentially laid out. All right, so the next thing I do is just kind of clean up this document. So I usually just go ahead and I delete those top rows, and then I just kind of make this a little bit easier to read. So I go to format, I go to text wrapping, and then normally I will center everything. And then one other thing that usually I have to do is, and I'll zoom in here actually so you can see this a little bit better, is usually what I have to do is come to format and change this to number, like something like this. Because sometimes when I copy and paste, it might have a weird formatting to this. So format, number, and then I come down to just this one. All right. Then what I do is I turn this into a filterable heading, which you can do by coming over here to this thing, create a filter. All right. Now basically I can filter, by monthly searches or by competition, whichever you prefer. But how I do it is I like to start by just going top to bottom, what gets the most searches. So to do that, I'm going to click on this and click sort Z to A. I'm just going to remove everything that doesn't have a number, because if it doesn't have any search volume, it's probably not worth our time. All right, there we go. So we're just going to remove all these. There we go. All right. So then what I do is just simply come in here and I go through my list and I just start looking at keywords that would be relevant to the business. So I'm going to, most likely leave out competitors. So if I see any competitor names. So typically how I do this is I just kind of start coming in here and then I find keywords that I think are relevant and I'm just going to highlight them in yellow. Landscaping trees. So right now we're just looking for specifically landscaping. So that one. Trees I'm going to leave out because you kind of got to think about, I'm really trying to think about the intent of the searcher and also what's going to be practical for what this landscaper does. So he doesn't really do a lot of stuff with trees. He does tree trimming, but so this might be more appropriate for that page. But right now we're just focused on the primary landscaping page. So that one's going to be good. He does edging. I'm going to skip lawn care because we'll have a whole nother tab for that. I'm going to skip landscape architecture. And then, we've got patio pavers, although I'm going to have a whole separate page for that. There's hardscaping, but I don't know that the average customer uses that term. All right, so I've selected what I think are kind of the first pass at the keywords. So I'm going to highlight these all in yellow. And then one thing you can do is you can sort by color if you like. There you go. So these are kind of the initial keywords. And so basically what I'm going to do is I am going to grab these and throw them into my keyword research doc. So like I said, what I do is I go off of the competition index value versus this sort of broad, low, medium, high one, but you could use this also. But I'm just going to select these columns, and then what I'm going to do is go over to my keyword research template. And on my landscaping tab, I'm going to throw these all into the supporting keywords tab here. And then what I like to do is just paste values only. And the way I've got this set up is this column here is set up that based on the number, it's going to basically give me this stat here. So anything 35 or less are going to be in green, which is low. Anything 36 to 64 are going to be in yellow, that's medium competition. And then anything 65 to 100 are going to be a high competition, and that's going to be in red. So, all right. So then the next thing I'm going to do here is just sort of go through these and start to think about the customer intent. So that's this column here, keyword intent. So we've got three options: navigational, informational, and transactional. Navigational is like a brand name. So if we saw a company name in here, let's say it's our company name, that would be navigational. If there were a competitor's name, that would be navigational as well. If there were maybe a brand name of a product or a service, that would be navigational. So what we're trying to do here is establish the intent of the person doing the search, right? So next is informational. That's sort of the catch-all. If I don't really know the intent or can't really determine what that is, I'm going to put informational. It means the person doing the search is most likely just looking for information on this. They might be a potential customer, they might not. And then transactional are those really high intent keywords where somebody searching it is probably further along in their buyer's journey, and they're probably ready to hire a landscaping company, and they're more likely to act. So let's just start with landscaping. So landscaping, it's pretty broad, so I'm just going to put informational. Landscaping Fargo, I'd say that's pretty transactional. Anytime there's a city name or like a neighborhood name or something like that, more likely than not, the person doing the search is looking for a landscaper in that area. Same goes with near me searches. Those are pretty transactional. So landscaping edging, that's informational. Landscaping companies. Now landscaping companies, that's even more transactional, right? So if somebody's searching landscaping companies, it's definitely in the market to hire one. Landscaper, that's pretty broad. So I'm just going to go down this list and add all these. All right, so now that I've done that, I'm pretty much done with the landscaping side of things. I'm going to move on to the other services, and then I'm going to come back and basically select the focus keyword and the supporting keywords for my landscaping page, and then basically decide where I'm going to use these keywords. But I find it's better to go through each of my services and then kind of come back and we'll kind of match these up with the pages we're going to use them on. So I'm going to move ahead to something a little bit different and do something like snow removal. So we're going to jump to a different category. So let's do snow removal. All right. Snow removal. There's probably not going to be a ton of different ways of saying this. Snow removal services, we'll do snow removal companies. What else? Snow blowing maybe. And then we'll put the cities. West Fargo, that's a neighboring city, and then we've got Moorhead, Minnesota. So I'll add that. All right. Snow blowing. Oh, snow blowing does get quite a bit. Okay, so same process basically. Going to go over here, download to a Google Sheet, and save that. And again, I'm just going to walk through the same exact process of cleaning up this page, going through my snow removal keywords, and then adding those to my keyword research template. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for all the different services, and then I'll come back and show you what I've selected, and then we'll walk through the next steps. Now I've gone through all the other service lines and added potential keywords, their monthly search volume, the competition, and I've gone in and I've added the keyword intent. So I've done this for Christmas lights, lawn care, fall cleanup, tree trimming, patios, fences, and so on, as you can see. Now the next step is to basically choose which are going to be my focus keywords and which are going to be supporting keywords. So I've done this already for snow removal. And what you're going to want to do is select one focus keyword for each page that you're going to create. So for snow removal, I'm going to have a snow removal page, and I want to have one focus keyword for that page. But I also want to have roughly 3 to 5 supporting keywords. So the focus keyword is going to be the one made keyword I'm going to optimize that page for. And then I've got supporting keywords that I can work in where I've got extra room. I can use them as headlines, subheadlines. But also, sometimes I might find that these supporting keywords might also be useful on a different page. So what I like to do is basically just start by selecting the keywords that I think I want to target. And I do this based on the search volume and then look at the competition. And then basically the one I decide is going to be the focus keyword, I pull out and I throw it into this column here, as you can see. So I decided to go with snow removal Fargo here. I don't have a ton of options. I've got snow removal services, but that only gets 20 searches compared to snow removal Fargo, which gets 260. Even though this has a higher competition, I think it's still my best option to go after. So then once I've done that, basically what I'm going to do, and the value of having a spreadsheet like this, is now I'm going to basically match these keywords up with where I'm going to use them. So in a lot of cases, because you're breaking these out by, service, they're probably going to only go one place, most likely. But there might be opportunities that you're going to use this perhaps as the homepage keyword, or you might have other pages. So what I do is I basically just come over here and I say where I'm going to use these, which pages, right? And in my case, 2 of these keywords I'm actually going to use somewhere else. So snow removal West Fargo is actually going to end up on a location page. So I'm going to have a specific page dedicated to the city of West Fargo. And then I'm going to have one for the city of Moorhead. And so that's where these keywords are going to be most useful. So my West Fargo page, I'm probably going to use this as the focus keyword for that page. So I've just indicated that here. Snow removal Fargo, I'm going to probably use that on the Moorhead snow removal page. All right. So the other thing that this particular planner that I use is useful for is you'll also oftentimes find keywords in here that would make good blog content or good FAQs. And more likely than not, it might be FAQs. So snow removal cost was one that I thought would be an FAQ. So in my spreadsheet, I've got a column here over on the right that's for blog or FAQ ideas. And so what I do is I usually just grab that keyword and throw it over here and then say where I think I'm going to use it. So in this case, this would be good for an FAQ on the snow removal page. I'm going to jump over to fall cleanup. When I was doing my keyword research for fall cleanup, I found a lot of other ideas for blog topics. These could actually also be FAQs. So I'll decide when I get there how I'm going to use these. But how to rake leaves, is raking leaves good for your lawn? All great FAQs. So at minimum, they can be an FAQ. Maybe I'll break them out into a blog post. So when I find FAQ or blog opportunities, I throw them in there. All right. So let's jump over to landscaping, and I'll just walk you through this in real time. So landscaping, we've got landscaping Fargo. That'd probably be a good one. So I'm just going to basically, how I do this is I just kind of go down my list and I highlight them in yellow. The ones that I think are going to be good ones. So landscaping Fargo, a 37 difficulty. I'm going to highlight that one. Landscaping Fargo ND, a 16. Landscaping companies, that has a competition of 6. I think I might avoid landscaper. I don't know that my target audience is really typing in landscaper. So I'm going to skip that one. Landscaping companies near me. Now this is basically the same as landscaping Fargo's and as Fargo ND, but I could highlight it and see if I can work it in. I may or may not use it. Hardscaping. I might actually, let me go back to my sitemap here. Hardscaping might be good for patios, so maybe I'll grab that. All right, now these other ones, all right, we've got landscaping West Fargo. That'd be good for my West Fargo location page. These other ones, pretty high difficulty. I think I might skip over them. I'll grab landscaping services. Now you'll notice, a lot of these keywords are very similar. So we've got landscaping services near me and just landscaping services. When I actually go to do my optimization, I may, if I've got landscaping services, for example, used as my focus keyword, I'm going to try to use landscaping services near me, right? But in a lot of cases, when you're selecting these supporting keywords, I might only use landscaping services, or I might use near me somewhere else. The supporting keywords sort of end up getting, mixed and mashed when I do my optimization. So, selecting landscaping services and landscaping services near me, basically the same thing, but what the heck, it's still good to just select them so you kind of have this organized and can keep an eye on everything. All right, so next, let's choose our focus keyword, and I'm leaning towards landscaping Fargo ND, which has still a decent search amount, not the highest search amount, but decent. It's got a 16 competition, and then I've got landscaping companies Fargo. Again, the Google Ads competition metric is based on advertisers on Google Ads. It's not necessarily an SEO metric. So I can't always be certain that a 6 competition is great for SEO. So in that case, oftentimes what I'll do is just throw it into a Google search and kind of see what the competition looks like. Now, I've got another tool turned on right now called Keywords Everywhere. It's a Chrome browser extension that I highly recommend also. It's only going to cost you $10 one time, and you get like 100,000 searches. I've been using it for 3 years, and I still have 4,300 credits. So, does that say it's going to expire? Expires in 25 days. No! I better upgrade for another $10. So, but what this does is this will actually give me some SEO difficulty metrics, as you can see here. So this has a 44. And it'll also give me metrics on my competition. So Valley Landscaping is probably one of the biggest competitors. They've got a DA, a Moz DA of 18. What else? 1700 backlink, 86 referring domains. All right. Then we've got SNS landscaping, 19 domain authority. Okay. So, all right. But let's see if anybody is using Landscaping Companies Fargo ND as their title tag, which is this here. I want to see if somebody's using it verbatim. And I'm not seeing it. Okay. Next, let's check out just Landscaping Fargo ND. Of course, this is going to most likely be used because somebody's going to be using probably landscaping and Fargo both in their title tag. But what I'm kind of looking for is somebody using this like verbatim at the front of their title tag. Is the first thing I see Landscaping Fargo ND. It kind of is here, but not exact. SNS Landscaping just is kicking butt because they don't even have a well-written title tag. They just have home and they're like number 1 or 2 in every search. So they've just got some history and authority in the market. All right, so this is one I could go after too. There's nobody using it verbatim. Okay, finally, let's just do Landscaping Fargo. These are all relatively the same, and I'm guessing the competition's going to be relatively the same. Yeah, here we've got the same company showing up, so it's kind of a crapshoot. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to start kind of with the low-hanging fruit. I'm going to start out by going after just landscaping companies. And then as we move forward, I'm probably going to maybe switch things up and go after Landscaping Fargo ND and then eventually go after this big one. But to begin with, I am just going to pull this one out. So what I do is I'll just do something like that. Pull that out. Oftentimes what I'll do is that's the easy way. I sometimes like to have it at the top, so I'll just copy it in this. I'll leave a blank spot up here, copy it, and then I'll just delete this one, and boom. So now I'm going to say where I'm going to use these. So this is going to be landscaping. So use this on the landscaping page. I'm going to use this on the landscaping page. I'm going to use this on the landscaping page. Hardscaping is going to be the patios page. Landscaping companies, I'm already kind of using that one. Landscaping services, landscaping page. All right, West Fargo. It's going to be my West Fargo page. So I'm basically, oops, what happened there? I lost my line there, but well. So basically what I'm doing is I'm matching these keywords up with specific pages. And then when I'm certain I'm going to use it somewhere, I just check it. So, all right. Now, I also need to consider my home page. Am I going to use landscaping or anything on my home page? Now, this business does a lot of different things, as you can see. So I'm actually going to optimize my home page for a branded keyword, which would be the company's name. But I might use landscaping as a supporting keyword on my homepage. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to use landscaping services as a supporting keyword on my homepage. So I'm going to just kind of mark that. So on my homepage, my focus keyword is going to be the branded keyword. Because he does so many things, it's gonna be hard to optimize his homepage for one service, right? Because I'm gonna have a lot of things on there. So instead, I'm gonna optimize it for Dakota Property Services. I'll add that here. Now, normally when I'm doing this, what I would do is once I've done all my service lines, I would grab whatever keyword I think I'm gonna use for my homepage. Usually it's like the primary service, and I'd throw it over here. but I already know it's going to be a branded keyword. I can guarantee this does not get any search volume, so I am just going to leave all that blank, and I guess I'll go ahead and I'll mark this yellow. But I can grab landscaping services and throw that here. And I'll probably leave that at that. All right, so that is basically how I use this sheet and how I do my keyword research. So what I would do from here is I would go through and I would do this process for each one of the service lines. I would pick supporting keywords, match them up with pages, and then basically you're on your way. So there you have it. Did you learn a lot during this process? I hope so. Let me know your biggest takeaway or questions by leaving me a comment on this video. And if you want to get your hands on the exact keyword research template I used here, simply go to mysiteranked.com/kit to get your own copy. And check out this video's description for links also. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel to see more SEO videos just like this one, and click that bell so you'll get notified every time I post new content. I'm Michael Quinn, and I'll see you in the next one.